Failure is one of life's greatest teachers, yet it's also one of the most feared. People often see it as a sign of weakness, as proof that they're not capable enough. But that's not the truth. The truth is, every time you fall and rise again, you become mentally tougher. Every failure you face becomes a layer of armor that shields you from future storms. You don't grow from comfort, you grow from challenge. And failure is the ultimate challenge. It strips you down, tests your patience, and forces you to rebuild yourself stronger than before. Think about it. The person who has never failed has never truly been tested. They've never had to question their limits or discover what they're made of. But when you fail, when your plans fall apart, when your dreams seem out of reach, when your confidence shatters, that's when the real work begins. That's when your character is shaped, molded, and refined. You learn that you can survive disappointment. You realize that setbacks don't define you, your response to them does. And that understanding gives you power. It gives you resilience. Each time you get back up after falling, you send a message to the world and to yourself that you refuse to be defeated, that you're not done yet, that you still believe there's more inside you waiting to rise. It's not the fall that defines you, it's the rise. The world admires success, but it respects perseverance. Because success without struggle is shallow, but success that's been earned through failure, through pain, through persistence, that's real, lasting, and deeply meaningful. Failure doesn't just toughen your mind, it expands your perspective. It teaches humility. It helps you understand that perfection is an illusion and that progress is what truly matters. It pushes you to reflect, to analyze what went wrong, to identify what can be improved, and to evolve. Without failure, you'd never pause to think. You'd never sharpen your approach or refine your skills. Failure makes you wiser, sharper, more self-aware. It transforms frustration into focus, confusion into clarity. The most successful people in history were not those who never failed, they were those who refused to give up after failing. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team before becoming one of the greatest athletes in history. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job for lacking creativity. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. These are not stories of failure, they are stories of resilience. Because every time they fell, they rose stronger, smarter, and more determined. That's what mental toughness is, the ability to keep moving forward even when everything in you wants to stop. It's the voice inside that says, I will try again. It's the strength to stand tall when your confidence is broken. It's the courage to believe that you can build something new from the ashes of what didn't work. And that courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through experience, through struggle, through the pain of failure. When you fall and rise again, you're not just building resilience, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of surviving hard things. And that realization is incredibly freeing. You stop fearing failure because you've already faced it and you've seen that it can't destroy you. You start viewing obstacles differently, not as dead ends, but as detours guiding you toward growth. You stop running from pain and start using it as fuel. Every time you recover from failure, you strengthen your emotional endurance. You learn patience, adaptability, and persistence. You start trusting yourself because you've been through enough to know that you'll figure it out no matter what happens. That's confidence born from experience, not ego. It's the kind of confidence that stays with you for life because it's rooted in truth, not illusion. So when failure comes, and it will, don't resist it. Don't let it crush your spirit. Let it teach you. Let it harden your resolve and deepen your faith in yourself. Remember that diamonds are formed under pressure and steel is forged in fire. Likewise, strength of character is built through adversity. Every fall, every setback, every disappointment is not a punishment, it's preparation. You're being shaped into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that your greatest growth didn't come from your victories, it came from the moments you refused to stay down after failing. That's where resilience is born. That's where real success begins to take root. Failure is not the end of the road, it's a mirror. It reflects back the truth about where you stand, what you need to improve, and how you can grow. Each failure provides valuable lessons that success often hides. When everything is going well, it's easy to believe you've mastered the game. But when things fall apart, when your plans collapse, when your effort doesn't pay off, that's when you start to see clearly. Failure strips away illusions and shows you exactly what needs attention. It exposes weaknesses, reveals blind spots, and highlights the gaps in your preparation, discipline, or understanding. Think of failure as feedback, not defeat. It's life's way of teaching you something that success would never reveal. Success often blinds you with pride. Failure opens your eyes with humility. When you fail, you're forced to pause, to reflect, to question your approach. You ask yourself, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? Where did I lose focus? These questions are the building blocks of growth. They ignite self-awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation of all improvement. When you succeed, you celebrate and move on. But when you fail, you analyze. You learn to look deeper. You start noticing patterns, the habits that held you back, the shortcuts you took, the effort you didn't give, or the skills you lacked. Failure teaches you précis. It makes you honest with yourself. It demands accountability. It doesn't let you hide behind excuses. And that honesty, though uncomfortable, is what transforms you. Consider how some of the greatest minds in history have treated failure. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." For him, every failed experiment was a lesson, a step closer to success. Each setback taught him what not to do, narrowing down the possibilities until the right one appeared. That's the beauty of failure. It refines your strategy. It helps you eliminate the wrong path so you can find the right one faster. Failure also teaches you patience. In a world obsessed with instant success, failure reminds you that mastery takes time. It shows that real achievement isn't about luck or talent, it's about learning, adjusting, and improving with every setback. Each mistake strengthens your foundation. Each challenge builds your endurance. You may not realize it in the moment, but every failure is quietly sharpening your skills and preparing you for something bigger. And let's be honest, success doesn't teach you resilience. Failure does. Success can make you complacent, but failure keeps you hungry. It keeps you curious. It keeps you humble. It forces you to grow beyond what you already know. It's like a personal coach that doesn't flatter you, it challenges you. It shows you your limits and then asks, are you willing to push past them? When you face failure with the right mindset, it becomes a classroom. You begin to see mistakes not as something to hide, but as something to study. Athletes watch replays of their losses to identify where they went wrong. Entrepreneurs review failed ventures to find flaws in their business models. Writers edit and rewrite after every rejection. This process, reflection, correction, improvement, is how excellence is built. Failure doesn't care about your ego, it cares about your evolution. It's the refining fire that removes arrogance and replaces it with wisdom. It teaches humility, not the kind that weakens you, but the kind that grounds you. You stop pretending to have all the answers and start learning to ask better questions. And in that process, you become a student of life, always improving, always adapting. Every failure is a story not of loss, but of learning. It tells you where you stumbled, but also where you stood strong. It highlights both your flaws and your strengths. When you pay attention to those lessons, failure transforms from something painful into something powerful. It becomes your guide, your silent mentor. It leads you toward clarity and growth. And here's the truth. The lessons learned from failure stay with you far longer than the joy of quick success. Because when you earn your progress through trial and error, you understand it. You know why it works. You've tested it. You've lived it. That kind of knowledge is unshakable. It builds confidence not rooted in luck, but in experience. So, don't run from failure. Don't hide from the lessons it offers. Every misstep, every rejection, every disappointment is life trying to teach you something essential. Open your mind to the message behind the pain. Listen to what it's revealing about your path, your habits, your mindset. Because the truth is, failure isn't your enemy, ignorance is. Failure is simply the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to become. Each lesson you extract from it moves you one step closer to the person capable of achieving real, lasting success. Failure has always been the silent architect behind the world's greatest innovations. Every major leap in science, technology, art, and human progress has been built on the foundation of repeated mistakes, relentless experimentation, and countless setbacks. Many great discoveries were not the result of instant brilliance, but of stubborn perseverance in the face of failure. Innovators like Thomas Edison, Elon Musk, and countless others didn't achieve greatness because they avoided failure. They achieved it because they embraced it, studied it, and used it as a stepping stone toward success. Thomas Edison is often quoted as saying, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That mindset perfectly captures the spirit of innovation. Edison didn't view each failed attempt at creating the light bulb as wasted effort. He saw every setback as feedback information that guided him closer to the right solution. Each experiment that didn't work eliminated one wrong path, sharpening his understanding and refining his approach. Without those failures, the light bulb might never have illuminated the world. His resilience, his willingness to fail forward became the spark that lit up human progress. Elon Musk, one of today's boldest visionaries, carries that same fire. Before SpaceX became a global symbol of innovation, it almost collapsed under the weight of repeated rocket failures. The first 3 launches were complete disasters, millions of dollars lost, public confidence shaken, and critics ready to declare it over. But Musk didn't stop. He analyzed the failures, improved the design, and tried again. The 4th launch succeeded, changing the course of space exploration forever. That success wasn't luck. It was the reward of learning, adapting, and refusing to surrender to defeat. Failure and innovation are inseparable. Every great inventor, entrepreneur, or artist has faced rejection, ridicule, and disappointment before finding success. When something fails, it doesn't mean you're unworthy, it means you're exploring uncharted territory. You're doing something that hasn't been done before, and naturally, that process comes with trial and error. The Wright brothers didn't soar on their first flight attempt. They crashed, rebuilt, and tried again. Steve Jobs didn't revolutionize technology overnight. He was even fired from his own company before returning to create the iPhone. Their setbacks were the price of discovery, and they paid it willingly because they knew that every failed attempt brought them closer to success. Failure, in truth, is a form of research. It provides real-world data about what doesn't work, which is just as valuable as knowing what does. When you fail, you collect experience. You gain insights that no textbook can teach and no shortcut can replace. You learn about design flaws, human behavior, timing, and resilience. You discover the gaps between theory and reality. And if you are willing to listen, failure speaks the language of innovation. It says try again, but smarter this time. But what separates innovators from quitters is their mindset. Most people stop when they fail because they see it as a verdict, a final statement that they weren't good enough. Innovators see failure differently. They see it as a process, not a punishment. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Each misstep is a clue, each disappointment a redirection. The road to innovation is littered with broken prototypes, discarded ideas, and sleepless nights, but also with priceless lessons that no success story can exist without. Elon Musk once said, "Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you're not innovating enough." That single line captures the essence of progress. Playing it safe might protect you from failure, but it also guarantees mediocrity. Greatness requires risk, and risk inevitably brings failure. The difference lies in whether you let failure stop you or sharpen you. When innovators fail, they adapt. They ask questions, they adjust their strategies, they change their methods, they treat every setback as a laboratory for growth. That adaptability, that refusal to be paralyzed by defeat, is what turns failure into fuel. Each failure becomes a lesson in resilience, creativity, and problem solving. The mind that can learn from failure becomes unstoppable because it transforms pain into progress. The truth is, innovation isn't glamorous in the beginning. It's messy, frustrating, and filled with uncertainty. There are moments when everything feels impossible, when nothing seems to work, and when even the most determined mind feels doubt. But those who persist through failure are the ones who ultimately change the world. They understand that behind every breakthrough lies a trail of setbacks, and that's what makes the victory meaningful. So, when failure shows up, don't resist it, study it. Treat it like a teacher, not an enemy. Let it show you what needs refining, what needs rethinking, what needs rebuilding. Remember that every great innovator you admire once stood where you are now, surrounded by failure, frustration, and doubt. The only difference is they didn't give up. They used every setback as a stepping stone, every mistake as a map toward discovery. And that's how failure, when met with courage and curiosity, transforms ordinary attempts into extraordinary achievements. When everything goes wrong, when your plans fall apart, when or effort seems invisible, when failure strikes harder than expected, that's when your true dedication is tested. It's easy to stay motivated when life goes smoothly, when progress is visible and success feels within reach. But the real test of passion begins when nothing works, when doors close, when the world tells you to quit. That's when the depth of your commitment is revealed. True passion isn't measured by how excited you are at the start, it's measured by how persistent you remain when the excitement fades. Anyone can be passionate in the beginning. The early stages of a dream are thrilling, the vision is clear, the energy is high, and the possibilities feel endless. But sooner or later, reality hits. Challenges appear, progress slows, and the road becomes rougher than you imagined. You face rejection, disappointment, and self-doubt. That's where most people stop. That's where passion is either proven real or exposed as temporary. Because passion that depends on convenience is not passion at all, it's preference. True passion endures inconvenience. It fights through failure. It refuses to surrender when things get hard. When you persist even after failing, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and to the world that your dream is worth it, that your goal means more to you than your pride, your comfort, or your fear of looking foolish. You show that your purpose runs deeper than momentary success. Every setback becomes a test of loyalty, a question from life itself asking, do you really want this? And every time you keep going, you answer with action, yes, I do. Dedication isn't proven by winning once, it's proven by showing up repeatedly, even when the odds seem impossible. It's when you keep trying after being told no. It's when you rebuild after losing everything. It's when you train harder after defeat, study longer after failure, and keep believing even when belief feels like a burden. That kind of persistence is rare, and that's why it's powerful. The people who succeed are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who simply refuse to stop. Think about every great achiever in history, from athletes to entrepreneurs to artists. Their stories are filled with moments of doubt, pain, and rejection. Yet what separates them from others is that they didn't let failure define them. When Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, he didn't quit. He practiced harder. When J.K. Rowling's manuscript for Harry Potter was rejected by multiple publishers, she didn't give up. She kept writing. When Colonel Sanders faced hundreds of rejections before selling his first recipe, he didn't walk away. He believed in his idea enough to persist. Their passion wasn't a burst of emotion. It was a long, burning flame that no amount of wind could extinguish. Persistence after failure does more than prove dedication, it builds character. It strengthens discipline and emotional endurance. You learn to separate your self-worth from your results. You start understanding that failure doesn't mean you're a failure. It simply means there's more to learn, more to refine, more to improve. You begin to value the process, not just the prize. You realize that passion isn't about loving every moment, it's about continuing through the moments you don't love because something bigger drives you. And when you persist through the hardest times, something remarkable happens. You grow into the person capable of achieving the very thing you're chasing. The struggle shapes you, it humbles you, it forces you to develop patience, grit, and inner strength. These qualities can't be learned from comfort or quick wins. They're earned through pain, through persistence, through the courage to keep going. Sometimes the universe delays your success not to deny you, but to prepare you. It's testing how badly you want it. because only those who are truly dedicated, who can rise after rejection, who can work through exhaustion, who can stay loyal to their vision when no one else believes, are ready to handle the weight of success. The dream you want isn't small, and neither should be your endurance to reach it. When everything goes wrong, it's natural to feel defeated. But that's also your opportunity to prove to yourself that your passion isn't fragile, to prove that your purpose is stronger than your pain. Every time you choose persistence over giving up, you fortify your spirit. You teach yourself that you can rely on your own resilience. That's how greatness is built. One comeback, one small act of dedication, one ill try again at a time. So when failure strikes, don't see it as a sign that you are unworthy. See it as a challenge asking how much you truly care. If your dream really matters, you'll rise again. You'll adjust, you'll learn, and you'll keep moving forward, because passion that survives failure becomes unbreakable, and once you've proven that kind of commitment, no setback can stop you. Success that comes easily often fades just as quickly. When everything goes right from the start, when achievements come without resistance, there's a danger hidden beneath the surface, the illusion that things will always be that easy. Success achieved without struggle is fragile because it lacks the foundation of resilience, discipline, and wisdom. It's like a tower built on sand, impressive at first glance, but unstable when the storms of life arrive. Real, lasting success is not born from comfort, it's forged in adversity. It's the result of falling, learning, adapting, and rising stronger each time. When you face defeat and refuse to stay down, you earn a kind of strength that can't be taken away. You become unshakable because you've already been tested. You've experienced failure, disappointment, and rejection, and you've survived. That survival builds emotional muscle. It gives you perspective and maturity that effortless success never could. When you've worked through struggle, you understand the value of every small win. You appreciate the journey more. Read deeply because you know what it costs to get there. Struggle doesn't just build toughness, it builds character. It teaches humility. When you've been knocked down before, you stop underestimating challenges. You learn to respect the process. You stop expecting life to hand you things and start working for them. You begin to understand that every victory requires sacrifice, patience, and persistence. The person who has faced defeat develops wisdom, the kind of wisdom that helps you make better decisions, handle pressure, and stay grounded when success finally arrives. That's why the strongest people you'll ever meet are often the ones who've been through the hardest battles. They've been broken and rebuilt themselves. They've known what it feels like to lose everything, time, money, confidence, yet they kept moving. They didn't let failure define them, they let it refine them. Through struggle, they discovered their limits and then they went beyond them. That process of rebuilding, of fighting through doubt and fear, creates not just external success but inner power. When success comes too quickly, it's easy to take it for granted. You might not appreciate the discipline and effort required to maintain it. You might get comfortable assuming you'll always win. But struggle changes that. When you've fought hard for every step, you respect what you've earned. You protect it, nurture it, and continue to grow it because you remember what it was like to have nothing. Struggle gives you perspective. It keeps you humble in success and hopeful in failure. Look at the stories of people who built something great: entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, leaders. None of them reached the top without pain. They faced rejection, financial loss, criticism, and failure after failure. But each challenge gave them the tools to handle the next one. The resilience they built along the way became the backbone of their success. If success had come to them without struggle, they might not have had the maturity to sustain it. That's why so many people who rise too fast often fall just as quickly, because they never built the endurance to stay there. When you face defeat and learn from it, success doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you grateful. You don't look down on others still fighting their battles, you respect them because you've been there. You know the sleepless nights, the self-doubt, the fear of starting over. You understand that success isn't a single event, it's a continuous process of growing, failing, adjusting, and moving forward. And here's the truth: struggle gives success meaning. Without the contrast of failure, victory wouldn't feel as fulfilling. The joy of finally achieving something is amplified by the memory of how hard it was to get there. The person who has struggled deeply feels success not just as a moment of triumph, but as a symbol of endurance, a reminder of how far they've come. Every failure you face becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes preparation. You gain wisdom, no, the kind found in books, but the kind earned through experience. You learn when to push harder, when to rest, when to adapt, and when to let go. You develop patience, the understanding that success doesn't happen overnight, but through consistent effort and belief in yourself. That patience and insight make your success sustainable, because they prevent you from crumbling when life throws its next challenge. Success without struggle is temporary. It may look beautiful, but it lacks depth. Success built through struggle, however, is solid, grounded, and lasting. It's not dependent on luck or circumstance, it's built on skill, grit, and wisdom. When you've been through failure and kept going, you no longer fear losing, because you've learned that even if you fall again, you have the strength to rise once more. That's the kind of success that endures, the kind that isn't just measured in trophies, money, or recognition, but in resilience, wisdom, and growth. The kind of success that can survive any storm because it was built by someone who already knows how to rebuild. Success isn't defined by how many times you've won, it's defined by how many times you've stood up after losing. Life is not a straight line, it's a cycle of rising, falling, and rising again. Every failure you face, every disappointment you endure, every moment that tests your patience and belief, all of it is part of the process that shapes you into the person capable of achieving lasting success. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it. Without failure, there's no growth. Without struggle, there's no strength. Without falling, there's no learning how to rise. Every time you fall and rise again, you become tougher, wiser, and more focused. Failure isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace because it's proof that you're trying, that you're pushing boundaries, that you're reaching for something beyond your comfort zone. Each failure carries a lesson hidden within it, a lesson that success often hides. It exposes your weaknesses, your blind spots, and your areas for improvement. Those moments of defeat don't destroy you, they rebuild you. They shape your mind to be sharper, your heart to be braver, and your spirit to be stronger. Think of the world's greatest innovators: Edison, Musk, Rowling, Jordan, Oprah. They all share one thing in common: they failed more times than they succeeded, but they never allowed failure to be the final chapter of their story. They treated every setback as a stepping stone. They learned, adapted, and came back stronger. That's what true winners do. They don't run from failure, they grow from it. Every mistake becomes experience, every rejection becomes redirection, and every obstacle becomes preparation for something greater. When things go wrong, when the world says no, when your plans collapse, that's when your passion is tested. True dedication isn't measured by how loud you dream when everything is easy, it's measured by how hard you work when everything feels impossible. Passion without perseverance is just emotion, but passion with persistence, that's what changes lives. When you keep going after failure, when you continue fighting after falling, you prove that your dream means something real to you. You prove that you're not chasing applause or approval, you're chasing purpose. Struggle refines you in ways success never can. It teaches patience, discipline, humility, and gratitude. It builds your emotional endurance, the ability to stay calm in chaos and focused in uncertainty. When success finally comes, you'll handle it differently because you've earned it. You'll appreciate it deeply because you know the nights you cried, the moments you doubted, and the battles you fought to reach it. Success without struggle is fragile, it breaks easily under pressure. But success born from failure is strong, unshakable, and lasting. It's built on experience and reinforced with resilience. When you face defeat and learn from it, you don't just achieve success, you sustain it. You've seen how easily things can fall apart, so you work harder to protect and nurture what you've built. You don't become arrogant, you become grateful. You don't take shortcuts, you respect the process. You know that every victory carries a responsibility, the responsibility to keep learning, keep improving, and keep moving forward. Failure humbles you, but it also empowers you. It reminds you that progress isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. You stop fearing mistakes and start embracing them as necessary steps on your journey. You understand that greatness isn't given to those who never fall, it's earned by those who never stop rising. Every successful person once stood where you are, uncertain, tired, defeated, but they made one decision that changed everything. They refused to quit. They decided that failure wouldn't be their finish line. They understood that falling doesn't mean you've lost, it means you've been given another chance to rise stronger. So, if you're in a moment of failure right now, if your dream feels far away, if your efforts seem invisible, if your heart feels heavy, remember this: you're not failing, you're becoming. You're being shaped, refined, and strengthened for something bigger. Every setback is teaching you what you'll need to handle the success that's coming. Keep moving forward. Keep believing even when no one else does. Keep working even when no one's watching. Because the truth is, success built through failure lasts forever. It becomes part of who you are, not just what you've achieved, but what you've overcome. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that every defeat was not a detour, but a direction guiding you exactly where you were meant to go. The struggle was never meant to break you, it was meant to build you. And now you carry within you the most powerful truth of all: failure was never your enemy, it was your greatest teacher.